Mick and Sam, taking you to Jungle Land. Bengals pride, it fills the air. Every week we're always there. Touchdowns, tackles, all the plays. Bengals roaring every way. Stories, news, and game recaps. Jungle Juice, we bridge those gaps. Welcome to the Jungle Juice. Mick and Sam, let's break it loose. Cincinnati, hear our call. Bengals fans, unite us all.
Welcome into this week's edition of the Jungle Juice podcast. I'm Sam, he's Mick. Mick, how's it going?
It's going good. Going good. How about you?
Oh, living the dream. See, it's funny. You know, today I had to do my grocery shopping, and people are freaking the hell out, and for good reason, at least locally here. And I think it's somewhat similar. You know, there are some models that are projecting over a foot of snow for where I live right now in Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I've never seen the predictions be this wide of range for how much snow we could possibly get. My parents are supposed to get down North Carolina. They're supposed to get like 6. My dad thinks it's gonna be 6 inches. But they said anywhere up to 15 inches there too, which is
wow. I know, like, tomorrow is, I think, we're really going to start to learn kind of how much snow could come, but stay safe, you know, to those, if you're listening with us today, and hopefully, you know, maybe you're one of our listeners like that might live in like Hawaii or something, and you could just send us warm vibes or something, because it's going to be cold. It's going to be snow, and I hate the snow, and I'm ready already for warm, because warm means draft season, warm means baseball, and warm means football kind of comes back around. So I'm already done with it. I'm sick of it, but alas, that's not why we're here tonight. On the show today, a couple of news headlines, but then I think, you know, the way that we're describing this is kind of doing like a Bengals internal review of sorts, and talking about some of the free agents the Bengals have, the cut candidates, and then kind of what is it exactly that needs to be fixed. Like, everybody's going to say, okay, what needs to be fixed? The defense. Yeah, but as we talked, you know, a couple of weeks ago and have multiple times, it's not like they need 11 new starters on defense, Mick. You know, that they have some pieces returning. Where are the actual holes? And we'll talk about that as the show goes along. But we invite you to follow us on social media. We're on our favorite podcasting platform as well. First, let's hit the news, Mick. Tanner Hudson signed a 1-year contract extension. I think this is one that doesn't really surprise anybody. Joe Burrow really likes Tanner Hudson, and I haven't seen the figures on this, but I can't imagine it's much money.
Tanner Hudson will be signing 1-year extensions with the Cincinnati Bengals until Tanner Hudson decides to hang it up.
I think that's safe. And every single year, and I guarantee it, we're both going to do it come July when we do our 53-man roster projections. Guess what we're both probably going to do? We're both probably going to cut Tanner Hudson. And guess what's going to happen at the end of August when they make their roster? Tanner Hudson's going to make the 53-man. Maybe that should have been our Bengals New Year's resolution. Let Tanner Hudson make the team.
Yeah, let's stop cutting Tanner Hudson from the 53-man roster.
And listen, he's somebody that Joe Burrow trusts. And you know what? If Joe Burrow likes him, then sure. Yeah.
Honestly, he's like a top end, like tight end 4.
Yeah.
On a roster.
He's a great tight end 4. And I mean, that tight end room needs some extra help, because also too, you know, the Eric All question is going to be really interesting to watch this offseason.
Yeah, the Eric All question is going to be interesting to watch. We know that Mike Gesicki doesn't really play a traditional tight end role. Noah Fant kind of came in for that Eric All inline tight end role, and we don't.
And really,
think
Drew Sample doesn't play that role either. You know, Drew Sample.
I don't even know. I'm not sure what purpose Drew Sample serves nowadays. It's not like, I feel like we haven't really seen him that heavily featured. Like, usually you'd see him like in the backfield on pass pro, like as an H-back. You saw him do that a little bit this year, but not to the extent that we saw it, you know, back in 2023, it feels like. So I'm not sure what purpose he really has on the roster right now. Honestly, we might be switching from a cut Tanner Hudson to a cut Drew Sample when we do our 53-man roster projections here.
It is possible. I mean, he is the longest tenured Bengal right now, right? Yeah.
Is he really?
Isn't he? Who's longer tenured?
I really don't know. I don't think
gotta
anybody. He's got to be. It's long.
Yeah,
Now we got to keep him on.
It was Sam Hubbard. So I guess then the longest tenured Bengal would be Joe Burrow, right? Is Burrow the second longest tenured? Because technically he was the first overall pick.
Pretty sure Burrow is the second longest tenured Bengal.
Not on the list to talk about today, but I think that is accurate. That's kind of wild. The other news that is, to me, interesting is Dan Pitcher. You know, we talked about him interviewing with the Browns. That seems to have kind of fallen by the wayside as him becoming potentially the next head coach of the Browns. Lucky Dan Pitcher, I would say. I don't know that that's a job that I'd necessarily want to jump into with the offensive issues that they have. But he's been granted permission to interview with the Bucs for their new offensive coordinator position. And that's interesting, you know, that Zach Taylor is allowing this to happen, obviously, and it would open up the opportunity for Dan Pitcher to call plays, which would then potentially allow him to get a quicker, maybe, head coaching offer. Interesting to you or not?
No, I mean, I don't know if it's particularly interesting. I think that the logic behind it's pretty sound. I mean, if you're Dan Pitcher, you're probably thinking in the back of your head that it took Brian Callahan 4-5 years. I mean, he became a coach in 24, so it took him 5 seasons under Zach Taylor to finally get a head coaching opportunity with the Tennessee Titans. Mostly because I think teams were probably not willing to take the gamble for him to be calling plays when he really had no such experience. So Dan Pitcher's probably thinking in the back of his head, like, is it really going to take me this long being under Zach Taylor, who will not give up his play calling duties, to get a head coaching opportunity because teams don't want to take that risk on me? So I think it makes sense for Dan Pitcher to want to maybe find an offensive coordinator opportunity elsewhere where he has that opportunity to do it. And I think that the reason why Zach Taylor is okay with this happening this time around is because he has an obvious replacement for Dan Pitcher in Brian Callahan if he decides to, if Dan Pitcher decides to leave. So now, I think that's kind of the situation as a whole here.
You know, Brian Callahan is also a finalist for a couple other offensive coordinator positions, including the Bucs. So, I mean, you could theoretically see that he gets the Bucs job, and then all of this is a moot point. I think he was also a finalist for the Falcons job, but the Falcons hired Tommy Rees a little bit earlier today, just because Kevin Stefanski wants to bring everybody from Cleveland to Atlanta,
including Bill Callahan. Yep.
Which, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna. That's not one that you can fault him for whatsoever for Bill Callahan. Now, the interesting one, Mick, and I think we have to mention it, is that there is an offensive coordinator out there as well who now is technically looking for a job, and that's Joe Brady. Now, we have to at least mention it because I don't know if you know this, Mick, but Joe Brady coached Joe Burrow in college. Not sure if you've ever known that connection or not. And then Jamar Chase was also on that team. It's wild that it worked that way. And they won a national championship that way, in case fans had never mentioned that before. Would Zach Taylor bring in Joe Brady? Like, let's just say Dan Pitcher gets the job with Tampa Bay, and Brian Callahan gets an offensive coordinator position with insert team. Like, just insert team, whatever it is. That's not the Bengals. You know, would Zach Taylor be willing to do something like that? And then also, would Joe Brady be willing to do something like that? Because, I mean, here's the thing with Zach Taylor is he knows he's coaching for his job this year. This is it. And I don't know that he's an idiot to where would he think that could give them the best chance of winning? Now, would Joe Brady want that? I don't know.
I think there is a 0% chance Joe Brady will come here to be the offensive coordinator. And for 2 reasons. I have a feeling, and I don't know Zach personally, but I have the feeling, just based off of 7 years of watching play calling woes, there's been some highs, but there's been definitely some lows with Zach's play calling where he's been never willing to relinquish the play calling duties. I think that Zach likes that level of control. I think that provides him a level of job security. And I think that's what the front office wants. And that was the idea in mind when they hired Zach Taylor to be the head coach of this team. Before Zach Taylor was hired, there was, futility at the offensive coordinator position especially after Hugh Jackson left, and honestly, a little bit of futility when Hugh Jackson was the offense coordinator for the Bengals in 2014. 2015, the offense looked a little bit better, but then you went through years with Zampese as their offensive coordinator. We saw how badly that went, and then we saw a few years of Bill Lazor as the offensive coordinator, and that really wasn't great either. It's better than Zampese, but it wasn't great. When they hired Zach Taylor, they had one thing in mind, and that was stability at the play caller position. That way, you wouldn't stunt anybody's growth on that offense. So no, I don't think Zach Taylor would be willing to relinquish plays, play calling duties. I don't think Joe Brady would take a job where play calling duties would not be a part of the job as an offensive coordinator. Let's not forget to mention that Joe Brady is also actively interviewing for head coaching positions elsewhere, where he could definitely land one of those gigs because of how good of a play caller he is. So no, I don't think that that's going to happen at all. Also, there would be a huge power struggle dynamic between Joe Brady and Zach Taylor, just given the history that Joe Brady has with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and the success that they had at LSU. I do not think that there's even a remote chance of this happening.
I don't think it's zero. I don't think it's high. I don't think it's high at all. But I don't think it's absolutely zero. Because we've mentioned this. Who really is the most important voice right now in Cincinnati?
It's Burrow. But that's I still don't think that Burrow would. Yeah, I don't think that this would happen. I definitely don't think Joe Brady would take it.
Now listen, yeah, and like I said, I don't think it's zero, but I don't even think it's like 2%. Like I think it's very small, but I don't know that it's just completely zero. Mel Kiper earlier today released his first mock draft. I know you're not the biggest Mel Kiper guy in the world, right?
I don't really care that much
about him.
I don't know. He's all right.
I love Mel Kiper, and I just like it because he's the draft. It will be very similar for me as to when Lee Corso stepped down, because Lee Corso was College Game Day. Mm-hmm. And it won't be the same watching the draft when Mel Kiper isn't doing the draft. Now, what he says, he said some stupid things over the years, obviously, but I just love how much he loves the NFL draft. But his first mock draft came out today, and I think Bengals fans will like it. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Caleb Downs.
Okay. I
think Bengals fans would be more than fine if Caleb Downs is selected in their draft. Now, as well, last week, Dane Brugler from The Athletic, he had his first one come out, and it's Ruben Bain Jr.
Be okay with that one, too.
And you've heard, and we talked about this as well, what's the one complaint about Ruben Bain Jr. from so-called pundits?
The measurements.
The short arms. Paul Dehner Jr. had a great factoid today, and I want to bring this to you. Over the last 15 years, can you name the two players with the most sacks that have 32-inch arms or shorter?
TJ Watt.
Trey Hendrickson and Geno Atkins. I guess TJ Watt has maybe 32 and a half or something. But at least this is Paul Dehner's stat. So if it's wrong, it's on Paul. Sorry, PDJ. But you're probably asking, the two best Bengals defensive linemen this century?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it just shows that the short arm things, I think, can be.
You got short arms, come to Cincinnati. We'll make a borderline Hall of Fame career out of you.
We'll make you an all-pro, kind of thing. And listen, if it's Ruben Bain or Caleb Downs, I think Bengals fans will be very thrilled by either one of those two selections.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for them to go wrong with this pick, unless if you and I don't like Peter Woods that much, but even I like his run defense. His run defense is definitely up to snuff. The pass rush just hasn't been there yet, and but it really can't go unless they pick probably one Jeremiah Love and pick number 10. Just because it's not a position of need right now, or how mad would you be if they went wide receiver and picked number 10?
Part of me would be like, well, see, and a lot of this
Makai Lemon join this wide receiver room with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Another, wild card of a pick is, do they go offensive tackle?
I'm tired of drafting for not now. You get what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm tired. If we draft somebody and we want them to be an early contributor, I'm not looking to redshirt a guy for a year.
And you're not,
obviously that hasn't worked really the past 3 or 4 years that they've done it.
No. No, not at all. But in a lot of this, like you mentioned Peter Woods, and then we'll move on. You say the Bengals draft Peter Woods. Well, okay, my question would be okay, who'd they get in free agency? Because if they get a couple of guys on that defensive line and Peter Woods is somebody you're throwing in there in rotation, I think you're pretty happy with that. Now, if he is a guy that you're expecting to come in and be, I'm just using Geno Atkins loosely, to be a guy who's a dude at 3 tech, then I don't know that you're necessarily happy or thrilled about that. Okay, Bengals internal review. Kind of looking at this for how this team is situated moving forward, heading into the offseason. I think we just start with the free agents. And I know we did this a couple of weeks ago, but things have changed as well. Our opinions have changed. We've learned a little bit more information and so on. I think let's just quickly go through these guys and just kind of talk a little bit about each one and whether we think the Bengals should bring them back or will bring them back. Trey Hendrickson is obviously the first one. I don't really know that there's any discussion to be had because I just think I think there's a higher chance that Joe Brady is the Bengals offensive coordinator next year than Trey Hendrickson is a Bengal next year.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
And honestly, I don't know that he should.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's been drama the past couple of years. It's time to shed that weight in terms of, definitely in terms of the drama, in terms of the salary cap hits or the salary he was getting paid, the $30 million this year. I think it's time to just move on. Thank him for whatever, thank him for being an all-pro for us, and hopefully he can make some money elsewhere.
Is he a Ring of Honor guy?
Yeah, he should be.
Yeah, I think so as well. Joseph Osai.
I don't think I'm going to bring back Osai either. I think he's going to be too expensive for what he does.
I agree. I think he'd be the guy that if you could get him for the right price, I'd be okay with. But I think the market is going to make him no longer affordable for what the Bengals should pay for him. Just because, I mean, we mentioned the projection was something, like $12 or $13 million, or maybe even 14 per year. He's not worth that.
Yeah, I don't think he's back.
Geno Stone.
He's going to be playing in the UFL. No, he's not coming back.
I sure as hell hope not.
You don't have somebody make a pay cut in their second year and plan to take them back the following year.
And then them not play any better at all.
Yeah.
After the pay cut. I can't imagine. Honestly, part of me is even surprised that he came back to begin with. Like, I think we both had him as cut candidate last offseason. And they brought him back, I guess, betting on something. But no, I can't see him coming back. Flacco's the interesting one.
I mean, I tried to bring him back, but there's no guarantee he's going to want to come back. Like, I think he's already kind of speculated on waiting for that opportunity to open up for him to start, which he's still playing to a caliber where he could be a starting quarterback in the league. So anybody wanting a stopgap quarterback or anybody that's, got a quarterback situation that's iffy, even like the Dolphins, for an example, with Tua, being quite a disappointment for the past couple of years, like a situation like that. But I don't think unless Joe Flacco gets no offers for that type of role that he is going to come back, even though we should try to bring him back.
What if he goes to Pittsburgh? Completes
the he really could go to Pittsburgh. That completes
completes the foursome there.
Yeah.
That could be a spot that you could see them sign him and draft Ty Simpson. Just off the top of my head of an example, and allow Ty Simpson to kind of learn under Flacco and go from there. I don't know. I would love to have Flacco back as your backup quarterback because then you're feeling confident in that. But I think also you're going to see the Bengals maybe draft a guy on day 3 for that, or definitely a actual undrafted free agent. I think you'll see them pull in this year in the draft. Not Drew Plitt, somebody who actually can do something potentially in the case that you need it. Noah Fant.
I don't think he's back. I think he had too many negative plays during the season that the team would not want to revisit that situation.
I mean, it's truly incredible. 3 fumbles recovered for a touchdown.
Yeah, some of that's really bad luck.
It is.
The touchdown portion is kind of bad luck, but the 3 fumbles that's enough. That's enough for me to not want you on the team anymore. So
it's just wild that
Smith fumbled once and we got rid of his ass.
Hey, don't talk about the Louisville King legend, Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah.
Speaking of the UFL, go Kings, right? I'm on board. I got my guy Lynn Bowden.
Should I root for the Kings or the Aviators?
No, you're all in on the Kings.
Because we are on the Kentucky side of the river here. I feel like we do have to go with the Kings.
Yeah, go Kings. I might try to go to a game this year. I think it'd be kind of fun to go. I've been to that soccer stadium too. It's nice. So yeah,
go to O'Shea's. I want to go to O'Shea's again.
There you go. Cordell Volson and Lucas Patrick. I'm going to loop those 2 in together. I think you bring back one, right?
Yeah, I think one of them will be back. I think if any of them, it's probably Cordell Volson, just because he will be, I think, cheaper than Lucas Patrick.
He'll be the vet minimum, right?
Yeah. And he has starting experience. He hasn't played. He's played bad, but he hasn't played awful.
He's not Jalen Rivers.
No, he's not. Honestly, I'd bring back both and cut Jalen Rivers.
See, I say that I hope that there's no one that ever hates me as much as you hate Jalen Rivers, but then I remember that you also hate Barrett Carter. So I don't know who you dislike more.
I hate anybody. I hate the way they play football.
There you go. I'm sure they're great young men.
Yeah, they're probably good guys.
Yeah. They're great dudes. Marco Wilson. I think he kind of fits in that same realm.
I think he comes back.
Yeah. I mean, he's a vet minimum, and he's a guy that's going to be fighting for the 53rd spot on the roster. He'll be fighting for that 6th cornerback spot. CTB.
There's no way CTB's coming back, especially after all of the drama of the past month.
Did you see the video of him?
Did they determine he was driving that?
I mean, why would he have been arrested and
that
been
wasn't
in jail?
That wasn't the video.
Oh, was it not?
Arrest, no, that's a different car incident. The other one was him. The arrest was him drag racing on Joe Knoxall. That video was in Covington. I don't think those were from the same night.
Is it an accurate statement though? I did read that you were the one he was drag racing.
No comment.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I got my sources. Dalton Reisner. I think we both say, yeah, find a way.
You sign him to whatever he wants.
Yeah. 2 or 3 year deal. Let's lock that up. He was solid. Let's get those 5 starters on the offensive line. Get them to where you don't have any real worry about that next year. And then the last guy is Cam Sample, who I think, again, fits into, at least in my realm. Yeah. He's competing for a roster spot there at the end. The cut candidates. There's 4. BJ Hill is a cut candidate, but he has a ton of dead money that the Bengals would have to take on. If we know one thing about the Bengals, is they're not going to take on dead money. So I think it's almost like $9 million of dead money, and they're just not going to do that.
And it's not like BJ Hill has been bad enough where you would really anyways. So I think that BJ Hill's coming back.
There are 4 though on the list as far as cut candidates, and to me, there's a few that are easy no, like you're not cutting, and then you've got some decisions on some other ones. Orlando Brown Jr. is the first one. It would save $14.2 million, but you're accruing $7.8 million of dead money. I think it's a 0%. I mean, well, maybe not 0, but pretty darn close to 0% that they cut him, right?
I don't think that Orlando Brown Jr. is being cut. I think the dead money, $8 million of dead money is too much for the Bengals to want to take on. And then also it's not like Orlando Brown Jr. has been so bad that we're begging for him to be cut. Hasn't had a great year, but it hasn't been a terrible year. It hasn't even really been a bad year. It's been a pretty mid season. He won our award for most mid player of the 2025 season. So, yeah, I think that OBJ is coming back, and I'm for it.
Yeah, because my biggest thing is okay, you cut him. Who the hell's your left tackle?
Yeah, we don't want to FAFO on that one.
No, because I mean, okay, let's roll the dice into the draft. No. You gonna bring back Jonah Williams to be the left tackle? I think he's a free agent, isn't he? Maybe, I don't know, but like, no. So I think you're keeping him. Here's the one that you've been looking forward to the most: TJ Slayton. It would save $6.4 million, $2.5 million in dead money.
Here, TJ Slayton. I don't want to see you here. There's a real opportunity for them to bring back DJ Reader too.
There is, yeah, there is. I think they bring him back. I think TJ Slayton is this year's Geno Stone, where they're just like, well, you're not making that much money. I guess we should bring you back. And then I think we see the same thing.
Substantial pay cut.
Maybe, yeah. Cody Ford saves $2.9 million, $500,000 in dead money, which is pretty much nothing. I think you got to keep him. He's your wide receiver 3, right?
Yeah. I honestly, just go ahead and keep him. Why not?
What was interesting is that Paul Dehner Jr., in his story on The Athletic about this, he says he doesn't think there's really any chance Cody Ford is on the team next year, which I thought was interesting from Paul to say something like that. And obviously, Paul is somebody whose opinions we both trust. I think his thought process is that the Bengals are really going to try and get an upgrade at the swing tackle position, whether that's in the draft or whether that's in free agency.
We're going to bring back Deontay Smith.
Deontay Smith.
Yeah, the Eastern Carolina.
Yeah. Dante Smith. Dante, I think. Yeah.
I think it's Deontay.
Is it Deontay?
Deontay.
Apostrophe. A-N-T-E.
Not hyphen, but apostrophe. Yeah, I think it's Deontay.
Interesting. I always thought it was Dante. But yeah, because that went over my mind. I would think you were spelling it a different way. And I was like, who?
I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
I'm sure he's watching. He'll probably comment and let us know. Oren Burks saves $2.3 million, $375,000 of dead money. This to me is probably the easiest decision.
Get out of town, Oren Burks.
Yeah, because he was very bad for the Bengals. The holes for this Bengals team. To you, in your eyes, number one, you can fix one thing. And when I say one thing, I don't want you to say the defense. I'm meaning like one position group, one specific thing for the Bengals. What is the number one thing on your wish list?
I'm going to go with safety. I was thinking about 3-tech, nose tackle. But I just don't think those options are as available as there are for safety replacements for the Geno Stone slot that they need to fill. So I think I'm going to go with the safety room. I think Jordan Battle deserves another year to get it figured out. It wasn't like he was terrible this year. He was pretty mid. He won my mid player of the year award a couple weeks ago, or last week?
Last week, yeah.
Last week. But yeah, I think Jordan Battle deserves another chance. And maybe if he has a better safety next to him, he ends up playing better like he did a couple years ago.
To me, vet linebacker, I think, and not Oren Burks as a vet linebacker. I think this is just a position where you got to go out there and spend some money.
Get Devin Lloyd.
Listen, that would be the guy that I think would really excite me. Of being somebody, for one, I guess he would potentially be the first Bengal to ever wear 0, right? Because didn't he wear 0 with the Jags right now?
I thought he was. Yeah, I think so.
And Bengals probably never worn 0, so that would be kind of fun. I would assume that they bought a 0 jersey, maybe, probably not. Mike Brown might not be able to afford that. But
thanks, Joe Burrow.
That to me though is the is the one that I want. And then I think we both go into the next realm of that defensive line. Yes, you're going to need guys to go in there and compete, I think, at all of the levels of the defensive line.
Yeah, I think you are. You're definitely going to need it. The question is who are you going to find? It's not like this free agent class is very good on the defensive line, especially on the interior. I think you've already heard me complain about how bad this interior defensive line class is, draft class wise. So it's slim pickings on that front.
Underrated needs for me, at least on this Bengals team. I'd like to see him throw in a vet corner. Just somebody that, that is not going to cost you a ton of money to get in there and add some depth to that room that can step in and start if there is an injury to a Dax Hill or a DJ Turner. That you're not relying on a Josh Newton or a Marco Wilson to fill some of those voids.
Yeah, I think just to add on to that, I think the nickelback position is something that's going to have to get figured out. Jalen Davis played admirably, down the stretch of this season. Him coming back and playing the level he did was impressive, but I don't think that he's the long-term solution at that position by any means. You got to go and find your next Mike Hilton that can play for a solid 3 years or 4 years.
And like we've said, the best part about those guys, they're not very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Hilton, they got on a bargain.
They did.
Before that. And so you're trying to find that next guy in that realm. And then to me, another big need for this team, and it's something we talked about a couple of times, is wide receiver 3. Now, is that in the draft, or is that somebody that you are going at and getting in free agency, or both? I think you're going to have to do something there, because that answer is not on the roster right now.
No,
I know you can say Mike Gesicki, but I think you need a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, and I do like this. I don't hate this wide receiver class in the draft by any means too. I think that there's plenty of good opportunity to find somebody in those mid rounds to take over that wide receiver 3 role, like a Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama, could be a potential slot wide receiver.
Wide receiver 3 from Alabama. That worked out great.
This guy's not a head ass like Jermaine Burton is, but
speaking of UFL, I don't think I've seen him get picked up in the UFL yet.
He might be playing in the penal league or something at some point.
Will Jermaine Burton take another snap in the NFL?
I don't know. Did you see him just like a couple years down the road, like he finally has his shit together, and then some team is just like, well, let's take a flyer on him, right? Like,
remember John Ross did that like a couple of years after he kind of fell off the earth. Didn't the Giants pick him up or something? And he had and it was like, John Ross is still a thing.
Or I was thinking like a not LA Chargers Mike Williams, but there was like a different Mike Williams, I think, that played in the early 2010s, late 2000s, that kind of had a similar thing going on there. Or like, that's really the best example I guess I have on that.
Wide receiver that I would like to see, though, as far as I'd like to see him add some speed to that room.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that can be a burner. Because, I mean, you haven't seen them have that true deep threat. Because, I mean, Jamar and T are not deep threats. Can they win deep? Yeah, absolutely. But I would love to see a guy that can take the top off a team. Maybe a guy that runs quick, has all of the measurables. Maybe a guy like Jermaine Burton. Like you are wanting the Jermaine Burton that has his head on his shoulders. Like he would be the epitome of somebody that you'd want on this squad.
There is a guy like that in free agency by the name of Alec Pierce. Is that somebody? A Cincinnati reunion for Alec Pierce. Is that a potential solution for what you just? If that's really what you want. That is the definition of what you just said you wanted. Is Alec Pierce coming to this roster, and then you move Jamar into the slot and just ball.
I don't want that though, because I don't want Riley to be have that happiness. So. Because
he does like Alec Pierce.
He loves Alec Pierce. He loves Alex Pierce more than I love Mitchell Tinsley. So, and that's That's saying something. And how about we just go with Wan'Dale Robinson instead? If we're gonna get a guy that let's get a Kentucky guy in there instead of the damn Cincinnati guy, right? But Wan'Dale could be a guy that could be in that realm, maybe not quite the burner, but as a slot, true slot. Obviously, he's not a guy that's going to play outside. Is coming off of a great season.
Yeah, the only qualm I have on Wan'Dale is that he's not the type of slot that Zach Taylor's particularly used in the past. He's definitely a much smaller receiver in that slot position, and we know that Zach Taylor likes taller guys in that realm. So I don't know how much of a fit that would be inside of a Zach Taylor offense. But
I'm just saying that as a Kentucky fan and having some wishful thinking.
Yeah,
that would be fun. Any other big holes that you think or things that this Bengals team really needs to focus on this offseason?
I mean, if they lose out on a Dalton Risner sweepstakes, I mean, the guard position becomes a position of need for sure. Definitely edge rusher still. I mean, we're not comfortable with the edge rusher room that we currently have. Even if Shamar Stewart pans out, Miles Murphy is towards the end of his rookie contract already. So that's going to be interesting to see if they pick up his 5th-year option or not.
Would you?
How much is it? Do you know?
What do we say? Like 13.5? Is that what we said?
Yeah, 13.5 million. Like, it sucks that we have to make that decision now.
Let's see what it is. Yep, Schubert says safety to play alongside Geno. Oh, safety like to play along Geno Stones. Yeah, our comments have been quiet tonight. Yeah, I think he's pulling on you there. He's just being Schubert there, commenting saying playing along. Projected 2026 5th-year options. So right now, the projection for him is, that's last year. That is, well, now, of course, I can't find it here. 5th-year options, salary. Why is this not? I think it is just somewhere in that realm of being. See, why would it be? Oh, wait, this is it. Yeah, I was on the right side. Miles Murphy, $13.62 million.
Why not? It keeps another guy here for another season. He showed enough flashes this past season to give it a go, try it out. If not, you're done with him after 2 years.
I know on our next show, you're hoping to have your first mock draft, right?
Yeah. We're working on the board right now. I don't do mock drafts like a lot of people. I do them for every team to, minimize the computer doing stupid shit. So yeah, I'm working on the board right now. It's almost done. So then we'll start mocking.
So we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here. And who knows what else we could really start to dive in over these next couple of weeks as the offseason really starts to get rolling. Any other parting thoughts here this week on the show? Kind of a quick one for us.
No. Yeah, I don't really have much to say to you guys. Have a good rest of your week. Enjoy some conference championship football.
Oh yeah, you got your picks?
Yeah.
Let's go Seahawks, Rams.
I'll get Patriots. Yeah. I'll get Rams and then Patriots.
I'll say Patriots, Seahawks. I can't believe the Seahawks did what they did to the 49ers.
That was insane. Now, 49ers were fairly injured during that game, but
that was wild.
I think the winner's probably coming out of that Rams Seahawks game for the Super Bowl.
I agree. And I'm fine with either one of those. Best part is, I don't know that I really want the Patriots to win.
I don't think I do.
But other than that, I don't really care. I'm just kind of in the realm of just give me some good football games. And really, the conference championship, the divisional round, had some pretty solid football games. The Bears-Rams game was great.
Great game.
Bills
Broncos was a classic. It was a great game to watch. The other two games weren't great.
Yeah, which is the one? The Seahawks game was a blowout. Yeah, the Patriots. Yeah, that was kind of hard to watch. CJ Stroud. Remember when people were saying CJ Stroud's on Joe Burrow's level? Remember that?
The crazy part was I found myself being a CJ Stroud apologist for
Pepperidge Farm
that entire game. Because I'm just like, your top 2 wide receivers are out, really maybe top 3 if you count Tank Dell just not being on the team or, being, having his knee completely reconstructed after 2024. And then offensive line was, you're losing guys to the offensive line, your play callers, dog shit. It's a bad situation all the way around for him. But yeah, it was a bad game. Also, the weather was a huge element in that too.
Yeah, 100%. It was in Chicago as well. That'll wrap us up here, though, for this week's show. Remember to follow us on social media. We're on your favorite podcasting platform as well. Make sure to give us a 5-star rating that way. Stay warm. Hopefully the snow isn't as bad as it is expected to be, because we might be snowed in if it gets much worse than that. But Mick, hope you have a good rest of your week. Any parting thoughts?
No. None. Absolutely none.
You are thought it out. That's how we do it.
No more thoughts are happening in here.
Well, that'll wrap us up here. We'll see you next week. Mick, Houday.
Houday. Thanks for watching.